So this is why the two clubs were in direct contact, and this is why the deal was verbally advanced between Chelsea and Benfica. Hello guys, welcome back on the channel. Fabrizio Romano here, as always, to keep you posted on the transfer market. And now guys, I wanted to touch on all the details of one of the biggest stories we had in the last few weeks in the January transfer window. In general, ENZO Fernandez. What happens with Chelsea? What happened in the last few days? What's going on right now? Let's jump into it together. And so guys, I wanted to update you on the ENZO Fernandez story, because I told you many times in the last few days that Chelsea were in advanced deal with Benfica, but it was never done. In the last 48 hours, Chelsea and Benfica had two direct meetings to discuss all the details of the deal, but then the negotiation is off as of now, because we never know in football. Let's see if Chelsea will decide to return to try a different kind of strategy, but as of now, Chelsea and Benfica are no longer speaking and there is no new meeting scheduled between the two clubs. Let's see how it will end up. Let's see if the two clubs, after a really tense situation, will change this story in the next days. But as of now, while I'm speaking, there is nothing agreed between Chelsea and Benfica and no new meeting scheduled. Because why? What happened? Last week, Chelsea had an agreement with Benfica player ENZO Fernandez. They had an agreement on the contract, a long-term contract for ENZO, everything in place on the player side, but not on club side. Why not? Because Rui Costa, Benfica president, always told all the clubs interested in ENZO Fernandez, the player will only leave before summer, so in the January transfer window, for the value of the release clause, 120 million euros. Otherwise, no way. This was the message from Rui Costa. What happened? That in the last week, in the last 7-8 days, Chelsea accepted to negotiate with Benfica around that value. So this is why the two clubs were in direct contact, and this is why the deal was verbally advanced between Chelsea and Benfica, because Chelsea initially accepted to discuss around that money, but they never triggered the clause and they never submitted an official proposal for 120 or 127 million euros. They always discussed verbally of negotiating around the value of the clause with different payment terms, but they never accepted to trigger the clause or to submit an official proposal for 120 or 27 million euros. So it was a verbal exchange between Chelsea and Benfica, but then what happened? During the negotiations on Monday, on Tuesday and on Wednesday, what happened between Chelsea and Benfica is that Chelsea, after discussing with Benfica for an important fee, the official bid they submitted was 85 million euros, way less than what was discussed verbally. For Benfica it was impossible to proceed for 85 million euros, but even 100 million euros. For Benfica, Manuel Rui Costa, Benfica president, has always been very clear. The value of the release clause, now or nothing. So 120 million euros. Chelsea initially decided to discuss and negotiate with Benfica around the value of the clause, not triggering the clause, but the official bid they submitted was 85 million euros. This is why the situation collapsed. Then, what's the status now? At the moment, ENZO Fernandez wanted Chelsea, and this is important to clarify that the player was open to join Chelsea, but the reality is that then the official bid of Chelsea was way less than expected by Benfica, and this is why the negotiation collapsed. What's the point? And it's an important point. Now the two clubs are no longer in direct contact, so the situation is really tense. I say, let's wait some days to see if it will change or not, because we don't know how Chelsea will act. We don't know how Benfica will act, because also we had rumors on Man United, on Liverpool, but they never triggered the clause and they never made an official bid for ENZO. So let's see how the situation will evolve. But the reality is that Manuel Rui Costa, Benfica president, was very clear. The value of the clause or nothing. So at the moment it's on Chelsea. If they want to return, it's for that money. Otherwise, Benfica will not sell the player, especially after they verbally discussed around the value of the clause, but then Chelsea official bid was 85 million euros. So this is the situation, a really crazy story, a crazy deal, but let's see what's next. With Chelsea now focused on other potential players, I would keep an eye on other midfielders too. Let's see if Chelsea will decide to return for ENZO or go for another one. For example, a player they're following is Moises Caicedo from Brighton, who Graham Potter knows very well. We know they are interested in Mudryk, but Arsenal are still leading the race and the preference of the player. So let's see how it will evolve, but this is the ENZO situation. And so guys, let me know your thoughts on ENZO Fernandez deal. I wait for your comments, guys. Here as always, like this video, turn on the notification bell. As always, subscribe to the channel. See you soon with Fabrizio. Ciao!